It is Midweek Extra. It is John Gibbons hosting. I hope you're all fantastic this Thursday and looking ahead to a Merseyside derby on Saturday. That's what we'll be doing on part 2. But before all that, we do need to talk about last night's game, and there is plenty to unpick, of course. Newcastle 3, Liverpool 3, and to do all of that, I've got Scott Beckett, and I've got Ian Salmon, and I've got Josh Williams. And I'll start with you, Josh. I did the post-match show afterwards, and we were all a bit deflated because that's what happens when you can see the goal in that manner. I'm sure we all sort of felt like that. That's what post-match reaction is, but now we've all had a little bit of time to reflect on it. You've probably crunched some numbers early this morning. With a night's sleep and a nice brisk walk in the December Liverpool cold, are you reflecting any differently on that last night, or is it still a little bit fucking hell, we had that win?
There's still a bit of that in there, but I do think it was a fair result. I think a draw was fair looking at the game. I think we won the second half, they won the first. We had, we trailed twice in the game. I think we had a number of players who were a little bit off it. They had their best team out, really, apart from Botman, who's, I think, injured long term. That was literally their best side. I think they had, they haven't had any European football, sort of, fresher than Liverpool had.
The lack of Isaac injury was annoying, wasn't it? That was everyone built that up.
Wasn't he out for the season?
Well, he was certainly meant to be out for fucking last night.
He's a player, though, isn't he?
He's brilliant.
Yeah, he's a great player, but it was a night game, St James's Park, away from home, and as I said, we had Trent on the bench, we had Kanate out, Jota was out, Diaz was on the bench, Alisson was out. So, all things considered, it's not the worst point in the world. Just a bit frustrating that we could have come out of it with 3 points, and I was minutes away from tweeting that was like a result of champions. That was the kind of game I think that champions win, where you go behind twice, it's a tough game, lots of adversity, and you end up coming away with it with a win anyway. But just that last little moment, just very annoying, but we take it.
Yeah, I mean, it still might be the points that wins us the league, Scott, who knows, but it would have been a huge win, and I think that's what sort of Josh is saying there, is that it's not the worst point, but it would have been a massive win because of all the reasons that he's described there, and more, really, following on from a sort of a massive week. The fact that we don't get it and we are so close, regardless of whether you deserve it or not, when you draw the game, in fact, I nearly did it there, when you draw the game in that manner, it does leave you a little bit flat.
It does, when the final whistle went, and your heart rate slows down, and you kind of look back on it, and you're going, what if this, what if that, if only this, if only that would have happened. But I just went back to the Southampton game and thought, we've got 5 games in 13 days, 3 of them are away, all tough games, 2 of them are at home against Man City and Real Madrid, and if we beat Everton on Saturday, you look back and go 4 wins and 1 draw. You can't ask for much more than that. But I think the manager will have learnt a lot last night, more than he might have learnt against City and Madrid. And I think there were, we did look vulnerable, and it was a bit end to end, and you don't want that. And the first half wasn't like us at all. We were slow and sloppy, and Gravenberch couldn't do his Gravenberch things. He couldn't turn on the ball. They were straight on him, especially with Tonali, who was probably the best midfielder in that first half. But you knew we'd get back into the game, and I don't think Slot would have had a go at them at half time. I think he would have said, come on lads, just step it up a bit more, you can get back into this and you can play loads better. Just do what you're good at. But it's a mistake at the end, and it's hard to take, but you just got to look at the bigger picture of, it's the 4th game in 10 days, and we've won 3 and drawn 1, so we just look ahead to Saturday, I think.
You ready to look at the bigger picture, Ian?
No.
Fair enough.
No.
Let's get it broiled. Let's really fucking get in amongst it.
That's a really reasonable point by Scott, and I don't feel even vaguely reasonable this morning. I woke up and my first thought was, fuck. And it hasn't stopped being that thought since.
It's been a while since that's happened.
Yeah, that's been.
I mean, for football reasons, I don't want to get into anything else you've got going on, but yeah, for football reasons.
Purely footballing reasons, I've not thought that in a long time.
Yeah.
It's the game the champions win. That is the game the champions win.
Yeah,
and if we'd won that, I was ready to say we've won the league. I was that certain. If we'd won that, the league is ours. That's fate written all over you. To be as bad as we were in the first half, and we were utterly awful in the first half, and then come out with a 3-2 win, then that's fate screaming at you that you're winning the league. And we'd won that game. We'd literally won that game. And Kelleher's been absolutely fantastic all season, and he's made a couple of great saves in that game to keep us in it. But losing that game is on the goalie, and the goalie knows it's on him. He's more aware than anybody else. He probably slept less than anybody on the planet last night because of that, and I feel for the lad, but he made a very bad decision, and it cost us. After we'd managed to get ourselves back in it, I say after we'd managed to get ourselves back in it, after Mo Salah had managed to get ourselves back in it, almost entirely single-handedly, in one of the greatest single-handed performances I've ever seen in the second half. It's galling. It's really galling because that game was won from a position where we shouldn't have won it. Twice where we shouldn't have won it. From a position where we don't deserve to have won it, we'd won it. We don't deserve to have won it, but we had won it. And that's really, really annoying. And I know it's kind of, it feels very ingracious to be annoyed because we are 9 points ahead of City?
We were 7 ahead of Arsenal.
We were 11.
We're 11
at the time.
So we dropped 2. So we're 9 ahead and we're 7 ahead of Arsenal.
And Chelsea.
And Chelsea, who are doing very, very well quietly. We just let them back into it a little bit because suddenly it doesn't look quite as insurmountable as 11 and 9 does. So it's an annoying one because we had the game won. Not because we should have won it. And it's also worrying on several levels because we look tired and we look thin. And we're on the 5th of December, which means there's probably about another 19 games to go before Christmas. I don't know why it is before Christmas now, 4 games before Christmas.
There was 9 in December. And so
we've had 2, 3?
What was it? 1st December was the first one, yeah. So we've had 2. So we've done 2 and 9, but there are games where coming up where we can rest.
Girona and the
League Cup one. So you know, it's just been this intense.
But resting, given that we had Leone and Nallo on the bench, resting isn't.
Well, he's going to have to fucking pick Leone at some point.
He's going to have to. He's got to have no choice but to at some point in a game soon because we are running out of bodies.
Yeah, would you put it down to tiredness in that first half, or is it something else? Because Gravenberch has his weakest game of the season, but that can happen. Scott's point is right that their midfield were at it. You know, he praised Tonali. I thought Gibbons was brilliant as well, and you know how well he does for that opening goal. I think the opening goal is just really good football. You know, I'm looking at it and thinking, well, who gave the ball away and who could have just done better? I think the great how they move it from sort of back to front, and Gibbons is part of that. But Gibbons and Tonali are Champions League level midfielders playing for a team who just happen to be not in the Champions League at the moment, and that's how good they are. And then they're supplying forward to another Champions League level as well. Andy Gordon could be playing here if things would have worked out a little bit differently. And Isaac, you know, he's a phenomenal footballer, and so you're coming up sort of against talent. They were up for it. I thought they were sort of pressing, and so they were. I could see how they were forcing mistakes, but at the same time, I didn't think we were sort of learning quite quick enough. So is that tiredness? Is it a bad day? So what did you put down our first half struggles to?
I don't think it's specifically tiredness. I think that's too easy to say that. I think one of the reasons we looked tired is because they didn't. they looked, they full of vitality, full of energy, and they were all over us. But that's a signature Eddie Howe performance. That's going into the game. Can't remember what podcast I did, but I said this is the kind of game that Newcastle quietly thriving. Yeah. You know, when they haven't really got that dominance of the ball and they can pressure it into the ground and play the first pass forwards and stuff like that. And this was one of them. And I think we played into it. I think I think a bigger issue for us in the first half was the Gomez Kwanzaa thing. Our right side was toothless. It was, and it was very predictable. We were playing balls into the middle of the park where Tonali, Gimenez, Joe Linton and all that were just waiting to pounce. Very easy to read. We didn't have that kind of cheat code like get out of jail pass with Trent where you just pull something out the bag and get it out your own half. I thought Gomez was a little bit shaky at times. I think Joe's one of them where if you let him play, he's really good. But if you plant a seed of doubt in his head, he can wobble a little bit. And Newcastle, because of their willingness to have a go at Liverpool basically in the first half, I think kind of fostered that a little bit. So for me, the issues in the first half where we couldn't build the game, and a lot of that was because of the right side. Couldn't get out our own half, and we basically shined the light on what they're really good at, which is pressing you and then getting shots on the back of it. And I think we were a little bit better in the second half, and notably better once we brought on better players, which, shock. But this is the kind of thing that Arsenal have suffered from so far, and City have suffered from, in that you're just playing lads who ideally wouldn't really be anywhere near the starting 11. Liverpool have had that game now against Newcastle, didn't win it. You just got to hope that moving forward we can have a bit more availability with the better lads.
Yeah, I think sometimes, it is partly availability that leads to other players who normally play well sort of dropping it a little bit, and I thought the fact that it was a completely different right side of the defence affected both of them a little bit, and I thought, you'd have probably got a better performance from Quansah if Kanate in his form would have been playing alongside of him, and certainly Gomez. I think they seemed to confuse each other who was playing where early in the game, and they got in down the left hand side, and sort of, I think it was I can't remember who it was, but I was really surprised he didn't take a shot and instead sort of crossed it, and Virgil cleared it away.
That was Isaac, that.
Was it?
Yeah,
Isaac,
he crossed it. Yeah, I remember saying out loud, he should be shooting there.
Yeah, but he gets into a really good position, but it's a little bit too easy, and it almost looks like Quansah's sort of tucked in and then forgot he's not actually playing centre half, and sort of stayed there, and after that they sort of seem to, I don't know, sort of struggle a little bit with each other. I think, midfield, maybe if they'd have had that more obvious out ball down the right, would have been another option. And whenever a player gets hurried off the ball or gets caught on the ball, I'm always thinking, well, was it a lack of awareness, or is he looking up and there's no pass there, and then you've got to kind of hesitate a little bit? Are the forwards working as he should be? Are they moving? There's lots of things. I guess what I'm saying is, Scott, that can contribute to individual, poor performances, and sometimes they're just making each other a little bit worse as well.
Yeah, I think Gomez and Quansah, they're both not comfortable at right back. I know Gomez has played there quite a lot, but
he'd rather be where he is.
Yeah, I mean, Quansah had, he had the good moments where he strided forward with the ball like Joel Matip style and fed Salah, but I think there was times in the first half when both of them needed help on that right side from Salah, and maybe the right side of the midfielder, I think it was Jones. But, coming up against Anthony Gordon and Isak, who's drifting out to the left as well, it's going to be difficult, and they're going to get Quansah's going to get game time over this next month, because Bradley's out until the new year, obviously, in Kanate as well. So I think he did struggle, but it will do him good in the long term. And we've seen loads of good centre backs start at right back, or at least play right back, and I think that'll be the case for him. But you didn't want, at the same time, you didn't want a 70% fit Trent Alexander-Arnold against Anthony Gordon. Maybe that's what maybe the manager was thinking. So he's got to play Quansah over this next month. So I think he did struggle, but it will do him a bit of good in the long term, or especially this month anyway.
Yeah, it looks like we are going to have to use him there a little bit. Ian,
we've got nobody left.
Well, that's it. So Bradley's out, and unless they really like this Nalo and they throw him in, against in one of these cup games coming up, and he does well, that sort of might happen. But one thing, I mean, it's early days, but he doesn't look desperate to play young lads slot, does he? And this is sort of a wider thing, but I noticed that there was a stat the other day about Jurgen Klopp saying he'd give a debut to I think it was 55 academy players or something like that. And I thought, I bet how many would Slot give if he's Liverpool manager for the same time? And listen, they're coming in different periods. A lot of those would have been in the early days for a lot of those would have been in the early days for Jurgen Klopp, and the team wasn't as good, and so you're giving people a go, and obviously cup games as well. So there's
he did heavily rotate for academy kids in cup games earlier.
So there's different scenarios and stuff like that, but it was undoubtedly a really good time to be a young player, to be an academy player at Liverpool, and I'm sure they've attracted other players based on pathways and stuff like that. It's early days, but I mean, he sold quite a lot in the summer. He's loaned out even more, and then Trey Leone, who I thought looked great in this. Somebody's not had a minute, has he, in any competition? And so it's an interesting one. It just feels like, I don't know what points I'm making really, but it just feels like one to keep an eye on. I think, Ian, for me, and I think sooner rather than later, I think some of these lads, if he has got this reluctance in him to go for inexperience, that the circumstance might have to change his mind.
It could well do. I think Leone, I think he said he wants to protect him anyway because it'd be too much. We all know what we believe Leone's going to be, and all the talk about how good he is. But he is still a kid. He may have filled out a little bit from last season, but he's still a very slender kid, isn't he? So he's not got the physical muscle for Premiership games as yet. Nallo, I don't even know where Nallo plays, I know nothing about him whatsoever. I was amazed he was on the bench last night. It's one of those where you look and go, don't know. Wouldn't recognise him in the streets. I genuinely haven't got a clue.
He's a modern defender. Could do a bit of right back, could on
Can
the
he
ball.
do a bit of both?
A bit centre half, yeah.
Well, it might be. See, the thing is, last night, Bradley's a massive miss.
Yeah.
With Bradley in the team, I think we have a different first half because I think we've got more of an out ball on the right. And that's not throwing either Gomez or Kwanzaa under the bus because they both could have played right-sided centre back. But it's minutes for the lads now, and it is going again on Wednesday night. It's not Wednesday night, we're on Thursday morning now.
Who knows what day it is? Why do you get into Christmas?
It's going again breakfast time on Saturday, isn't it? It's basically what they're doing. So I don't, he's made the decision as a manager to go with a core of 22, 23 players that he is treating as his first team. Unfortunately, 6 or 7 of them are currently injured, which doesn't half limit how many people you can put out at any given point. I'm hoping, Trent looked sharp when he came on. I'm hoping he's fit enough to start on Sunday because I think he obviously makes an absolutely massive difference. And it's not I think there's also a point that because of the fixture congestion, I think we were playing a little within ourselves in the first half. But you've got the fact that Gomez is probably having to talk Kwanzaa through a bit of the game because Gomez has played right back. Kwanzaa's been there for 15 minutes at the highest level. Admittedly, those 15 minutes he did very well, but he's inexperienced in it, so you can't have the same certainty with the players around you if you're not used to playing with them. It's a given, but yeah, at the moment, academy-wise, we would probably kill for Bobby Clark. He'd be very useful. Although saying that, Tyler Morton's only had about 15 minutes.
Well, that's it, yeah. Would he be useful because would you be picking him? Yeah.
So that's the other thing he hasn't done when he's had the lads on the bench, because Morton's been on the bench, Leone's been on the bench.
Yeah.
But he hasn't shown any indication to go, well, I'm going to give you the last 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. Even when we've been in control, he hasn't gone, we'll give you 15 minutes now, see how you do.
Did Naoni score against West Ham in the Cup? Was that game?
I'm not sure.
Come on and score?
Couldn't tell you.
So it's been a lot of football this season. I think I've forgotten everything.
I don't know if that was last season, but
I don't think he's played. This isn't great, is it? I'll look into it. They're gonna have to be creative.
I think the thing on the kids, by the way, if you're going to play, you ideally don't want to do it in a game at St James's Park.
No.
In the pouring rain.
Certainly not the first go.
No. I think it was one of them for me where I think if you haven't got Bradley and you need to give Trent a break, I think the idea of rather than using Kwanzaa there, using a midfielder would interest me, but we don't have the numbers available in midfield at the minute to do that.
Sabozlai could have been a shout for it.
Yeah, or even someone like Jones. I can see Jones doing it. Jones did it for
has done. He did it for the League Cup, I think.
Yeah, but I think if you're doing that, you need maybe Elliott available or something like that to do that.
Fully available.
Yeah, fully available. Yeah, I think the Kwanzaa thing won't sting you if you're up against a team that will allow you to have the ball. But Newcastle just didn't. Newcastle full throttle and they were really good at it. To be fair to them, it was difficult for anyone to escape that, but. It wasn't a good game to have that kind of dynamic in your team where your right side's a little bit broken because they just played on it.
No, he doesn't feature at all in that West Ham game, Scott. First show, you're chatting shite.
I don't know what game I'm thinking of.
It's a pre-season. That was good. He was good then. He played loads. He might have been the year before. I'll keep looking for this mythical game when the only sort of happens. But we'll talk a little bit about up top here because it's a funny game. Nunez has had a lot of attention. As soon as you drop points, people go for the scapegoats, don't they? So I was on our
Facebook. Like the lad who missed the open goal at the post.
Well, why doesn't Gakpo just head it in though?
Well, why doesn't Gakpo just head it in is a really good question.
So I don't.
But when he's headed across, the lad at the far post should actually make that.
He doesn't quite reach it. He's like Gazza in Euro 96, isn't he?
He always doesn't quite reach it. That's it. His job is not quite reaching those.
Does it feel strange though to be criticising a striker in a game you've drawn 3-3, or is it just a little bit straw that breaks the camel's back? It does, and does it also not help when sometimes you're like, yeah, but who else is out there, and then the opposition have got a striker who you're like, well, fuck it him.
Yeah, well,
is it all of the above?
But we know that Nunez is capable of scoring that goal. He's capable of scoring the Isaac goal. He can do that. We've seen him do it. We saw him score twice against Newcastle last season with the same goal out of nowhere. We've seen him score from ridiculous positions. We've seen him lob the goalkeeper when it was the wrong choice. And yeah, I don't think it's ever going to happen. I don't think it's ever going to work. He can't do the simple stuff. And since we've made him more of a worker, he stopped scoring. So at the moment, he actually contributes very, very little to the team as a whole, because he's playing passes last night 5 yards behind the man they're supposed to go to. He's playing some absolutely woeful passes through the middle of the park. He's running, but I don't know if he's running in the right direction. I don't know if his closing was any good last night, because it didn't seem to do a great deal. And as I was saying before we came on, there's a moment before the third goal where he closes a man, he closes another man, and then stops and starts walking while the third lad gets the ball and moves it forward. And it's just kind of like, I feel like I'm scapegoating him. I don't want to scapegoat him, but he's not doing anything useful at the moment. For the money we paid for him, he's not doing anything useful. There's no, the chaos. City, he gets that little bit of chaos, sets up the ball for the penalty, and I'm lauding him for doing that. But then he follows up with a game like last night. So what he starts at City, he should take into the next game. He should be building on it. He never builds on anything, never builds on a performance. He just seems to regress to his basic level, I think, where he makes bad decisions. Constantly.
I often want to stick up for Nunez, Josh, just because maybe that's just the kind of guy I am. But I think like
much nicer.
I'm the same, to be fair.
But well, that's why I came to you. I thought we could join forces on this. But last night he makes it difficult, and it's not it's not an unusual Darwin Nunez performance. That like if it was sort of a one-off, then you could sort of write it off. But I thought his decision making was poor. I thought he runs down a blind alley early, which is fine, but then it seems to affect his confidence, and the next time he's got it, he's trying to get rid of it sort of straight away when we're in a promising break. He's he has a couple of chances. There's the one that he doesn't quite sort of get there, which again could sort of happen, but there's another one that drops him in the box and he just completely sort of scuffs it, and you think that's your moment, lad. You can have a bad game and you put that in, and sort of everything's fine. And like I say, it doesn't help when the fella who's playing for the opposition, looks as sort of good as he does. It's almost kind of like, here's what you could have. It's tough, isn't it, on performances like that, because if you want to play number 9 for Liverpool, you can have that game, but you can't have it a lot. And he feels like he has it too many times, probably for me, even as someone who does want to stick up for him.
Yeah, he's a really difficult one to analyse at the moment, actually, because I think if you go back to last season, when I was focusing on his game and that, one thing he shined in was getting shots. He was a really busy attacker, shot more than anyone in the whole of Europe on a per 90 basis, lots of expected goals and things like that. And although he was a bit technically deficient, the ball would just bounce off his knee sometimes and things. I think Klopp's game has always allowed players who are a little bit technically imperfect to thrive still, because the game's a little bit direct under Klopp. Sometimes the ball spends a bit of time in the air and things like that. So I thought, right, Nunez can be eventually Klopp's kind of main source of goals if he keeps going in this direction, because he just needs to start putting them in the actual net, because he gets the shots. This season, he's not getting shots. He doesn't get shots now. He just kind of... But he's become, I think, over the past couple of months, a bit more of a team player, maybe a bit more functional in that he's helping in other areas and things like that. But in this game, he gets one or two chances, doesn't put them away. His passing is off it, to put it nicely. Sometimes he just plays the game like a baby giraffe, where he's just kind of a bit wobbly and all over the place. And when you're playing for Slot's game compared to Jurgen's is a lot more precise, a lot more technically demanding and things like that. And Nunez doesn't really have that to his game, so he stands out a bit more if his first touches off, or if he passes it beyond his man or something. So I can understand people's frustrations, absolutely. I think that the one where he just misses it back stick, where Gakpo should score, I think that one, if he misses the ball, he misses the ball. If he can't reach the ball, he can't reach. I'm a lot more frustrated over the one that falls to him around the pen spot.
Yeah.
And he snatches at it and it goes wide. Strikers score them. Top strikers score them. They take that moment.
Well, at least get a better connection, because if it gets blocked or whatever, then that's one of them, isn't it? But he scuffs it so wide. It's
a corner.
Yeah. Well, basically, if he scuffs it a bit, Salah knocks it in. He manages to scuff it past the goal and no Salah, which is frustrating.
Yeah, but Salah has a really quiet and borderline bad first half. Comes away with 2 goals and an assist, and the chances Salah does get, he hits the bar with one of them. He scores the other, and just able to really, despite having a relatively bad performance by his own standards, when this moment comes, he's such a clear mind that he just delivers like that. With Nunez, if he did that while playing weird, I think we'd have a bit more of scope to understand him. But he can play poor, play a bit like he's playing on ice, and then also when the moment comes, because he does get the odd moments, he misses. So he's really difficult after games like that to support. He's just a frustrating player, isn't he?
One of the nice things about new people is I've got no idea what you think about Darwin Nunez, Scott, so tell us. In the context of last night, if you want to, or whatever.
Overall, I like him, and I want him to do well, same as everyone in the ground. Just, as soon as he does something good, his song starts. But I'm realistic. I don't think he's going to change.
It's third year in a third season.
And I'm thinking about other strikers in the league who I like. Isak's one of them, João Pedro. I like Cunha from Wolves. I'm thinking, would they get more goals? Would they suit our play more? And last night, was Gakpo's header a shot or a cross? But what's he thinking when it goes to the back post? Is he thinking he's going to head it in, so I'll leave it?
You can see what he was thinking on the replay, because he's raising his eyes to the sky.
Yeah, and it was like, if you'd have just had a bit more anticipation about you'd have tapped it in. And some of his passing was really sloppy, and it was behind. There was a moment when we were on the counter and he got it out wide and Szoboszlai was in the middle and he passed it behind him and we just lost all momentum. But you just don't know what you're going to get with him. I thought when we had the triple substitution and Diaz was coming on, I did think Nunez would make way, but he took Gakpo off. Maybe he just thinks Nunez got a bit more of a goal threat in this.
He might be thinking ahead to Saturday as well. Yeah. Thinking, well, maybe Nunez drops out then and Gakpo starts it. And
Nunez he can stretch defences, but he was playing quite deep last night, and
I think that was a problem. Like I think when you expect him to link and connect with the midfield and stuff like that, that's when he looks bad. Because he's not that good at doing it. He's not that player, and he's better when he's running in behind, when he's threatening and things. But
he wants to get involved, though. I think that's the thing, isn't it? So because first half he wasn't seeing anything, so he's like coming back and I think he wants to help. Like me, Josh, he just wants to help.
But I think this season he's been really committed to the cause defensively. Like he's been running himself into the ground, working really, really hard, and some slightly deep stuff you can do. He's all right at holding the ball up sometimes and that, but it's when he goes out wide for me. Nah, stay away from the flanks, mate, because his only weapon is knock the ball and run. That's it. And because it's so easy to read, any half-decent defender just takes the ball off him, and it looks really bad. It looks embarrassing. Stay in the middle. Stay in the middle of the pitch, and ideally stay on the shoulder of the man you're up against. Anytime you start doing other stuff, it does really... You just start thinking, Firmino was boss, wasn't he?
Well, he was. Listen, let's finish on a positive. Mo Salah. Ian, what a fella, what a man, what a god. He's some footballer, what he can do, and like Josh says, that's when he only starts halfway through the game as well. He was unbelievable. That second half, what he did, goals, assists, smashing into the bar. He's just a one-man destruction machine.
If that shot that hit the bar had gone in, it would have been the goal of the season. You could have just stopped the competition now and gone, right, that's it, that's one. There's half an hour there where there's literally nobody on the planet who can play football better than that. And he is absolutely perfect for half an hour, and he drags us back into the competition almost single-handedly. He's absolutely incredible. He's showing everything. It's just saying before we came down there, last night is one of the best adverts ever for give us our new contracts now on behalf of Mo and on behalf of Trent, because they showed what they do when they joined up, and they show what they do when you've got two players that ability playing at their very, very best, even in short bursts. Mo Salah, I've said it a million times, there's nobody, he's given me more joy in a Liverpool shirt than anybody outside of Kenny Dalglish. He is one of the very, very best. He's certainly one of the top two players we've ever had. And he's had more moments of brilliance than most players ever achieved in their career. And last night that was him at his absolute perfect best for half an hour there. And sometimes that's all you need. Luis Suarez was the best player in the world for about 2 months in the 2013-14 season. And that's what you needed for that season. Mo Salah has done it time and time and time again. And when he's in that form, he is the best player in the world, bar none. And he was incredible again last night.
I think I can probably guess what you think about Mo Salah, Scott.
It's just beyond belief, that second half. Just beyond belief. And I agree with Ian. To me, he is in the top three. It's Dalglish, Gerrard, and for me it is Salah. Just as numbers. Since he's got here, it's just unbelievable. And obviously, he should get a new deal. It's without question, but just the way he struggled first half, as Josh said before, but second half they were all at it. But he was like, sound, I'll get us back into this. And then obviously he got out from Trent with Trent coming on. He got, and obviously he could have had a hat-trick if the one where he hit the post would have went in. But I'm just running out of words. I think we all are, to just describe how good he is and how good he's been for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Some player, I'm sure he'll start on Saturday, but who else? We're going to be talking a little bit about the Everton game after the break, but just want to let you know right now about a few things that are coming up over this weekend and beyond. First of all, Saturday night is the best show in town, the O2 Academy. You come every year.
I come every year. It is the best night out you will have that doesn't involve 4 girls playing guitars in one of my plays. That's my proviso for this year. No disrespect to Prowsey. But yeah, it is. It's the best night out all year. It's great. It's just it's a chance, and couple it with the derby, you've got a chance of starting drinking at lunchtime, just going through the rest of the night.
I can't. I'm playing.
Well, yeah, that would be ill-advised.
I need to be on reasonable behaviour on Saturday, because I've done 8 of these Christmas shows now. I did one of them pissed, and it wasn't my best one.
Are you leading the section again?
Yeah, but to be honest, the section, they lead themselves now. So at first I was like, but most of them have done so the best thing about it, so Ian Prowse he gigs all year, but he does this huge show.
Oh yeah, we didn't actually tell people what it was.
So Ian Prowse from Amsterdam does this train stop in Merseyside and all that. He gigs all year. I think he's played more gigs this year than he's ever done in his life, because he's such a great live performer that the demand is there.
Hardest working man in show business.
Yeah, but every Christmas he puts together, I think it's a 15-piece band, but to be honest with you, they'll end up with more people on stage. He'll be inviting someone now up and they'll be playing. There'll be surprises on the night. I've done the last 8, I think, playing trumpets, but the brass section's sort of grown and changed. But the one we've got now, the players are phenomenal, and they've done the sort of the last few, so they largely lead themselves, Ian, thankfully. So I've just got to concentrate most.
So you can have a drink, basically.
Well, no, because I've still got to get the notes right. And there's bits where there's solos and there's all sorts, which you'll know, which is what I do. I'm comfortably the worst musician on stage, but I'm so pleased to do it. And the band he's playing with, there's people we've been playing with for 20 years, and you can tell on stage that the musicians are phenomenal. Ian loves it. There's 1,000 people in the O2 who are all just determined to enjoy themselves. And honestly, it's. I'm lucky. I do some pretty cool stuff in my work and my life, but this is right up there every year. So I think if you enjoy music, which is most people, I think you'd really struggle not to have a good time.
I think one of the great things about it, and I've told it to loads of people on this, is that you don't need to know the material.
No.
You don't need to know a single song. You can go in and you can watch a 2-hour set and love the whole thing and come away as a convert.
Yeah.
Because it's that good, because the spirit on stage and the spirit in the room is just so good. It's just such a feel-good night out.
No, it is. So that is Saturday. There are a few tickets still available at the O2 Academy. If you do fancy that sort of, come along and you'll get to see a little bit of me, but most importantly, some absolutely phenomenal musicians that I'm lucky to share the stage with once a year. Also, as well, a shout out to LFC Tours. They do these Legends Q&As every weekend, which are really fantastic, and I think really good value. So on Sunday, if you are around for the Merseyside Derby, shake off the hangover after Prowsey and go see Ian Callaghan, who is doing the Legends Q&A on Sunday. So you get the stadium tour, you get the museum, and then a Legends Q&A with Ian Callaghan.
Who is the loveliest man on earth.
And has played more for Liverpool than anyone else. He's played more games than I think Prowsey's maybe done gigs. And so there you know, it's touch and go. We'll try and work that out. It's priced £50 for adults, 40 for students, and 30 for under 16s. I'd like to say, which I think is really good value, because you get the stadium tour, the museum, and a Legends Q&A with Ian Callaghan. It will sign a little memento for you as well. If you're not around on Sunday, but you are around next weekend, which is obviously the Fulham game, you've got Phil Thompson on Sunday. He played a lot as well, and he's got some fantastic stories and is a great man. And so Sunday at 10 o'clock or Sunday at 11:30, two opportunities to book on there with the Legends Tours with Phil Thompson. So like I say, I think it's really good value for everything that you get in there. And lfc.tv/tours if you do want to book on. And don't forget, they've got vouchers for Christmas and stuff like that as well. And then the third thing I want to mention that luckily Neil's going to talk about a lot more in detail now is a Gospel Christmas, which is taking place on December 19th, 2024. So this year it is a fantastic event, but I'm not going to talk about it because you've got Neil now with Anu, who's organising the whole thing.
Joined by Anu Amadei from Liverpool Lighthouse and from the Liverpool Gospel Festival and from a Gospel Christmas. We'll build up to the Gospel Christmas because I'm excited. I'm going, which excites me massively. Let's start with the work that you do at the Lighthouse and how that links into everything that is in North Liverpool. The Liverpool Lighthouse is in Anfield. It's a charity that's been going for many a year, and you've been working there on music and the wider programme for years as well.
Absolutely. So we are a charity. We aim to be a creative sanctuary. That means that we are looking at everything concerning well-being, but we focus on the arts to do that. We've had direct impact with the with Liverpool Football Club. We had some of the players come in and see the work that we're doing and participate. And so, you know, we help the community. We have Creative Cafe where people come in and do lots of different things. So whether that's music, singing, arts craft, photography, nature walks, and then we also look after unrepresented or underrepresented communities as well and advocate for them too. So it's a lot going on. It's very direct and it serves the community in Anfield.
It's very community based, and it's worth pointing out that, you know, not so long ago, literally this calendar year, the community was rocked. Let's be quite clear about this by terrible scenes, and it's initiatives like the Lighthouse, projects like it, the projects that you work on, which are about sort of bringing all the communities together.
Correct, and it's really, really important that we do that and that we remember that we are all human and we have that shared humanity. We have shared joys, shared struggles, shared love for the sports and arts and entertainment and everything, and that helps us to come together. And so we really do believe that things like music and football or what have you, because we're sharing that joy or going through the highs and lows of it, we can see that we are one and we should come together instead of tearing each other apart.
And that is, and again, it's important to point out as well that it is a project in North Liverpool, it is a project in Anfield, it is a project that's very, very, again, very close to the people.
Correct, exactly that.
And that's the way in which it works all the way through. But the other thing, the thing that you love, the thing that you get to do is gospel.
Yes, because that's an art form of one of those underrepresented communities that I was telling you about that we advocate for. So you know, because I've spoken to you a few times, gospel music is everywhere. People just don't realise it. So in all the popular music that we listen to, there'll be gospel musicians on the bands, singing, playing, the songwriters, the A&R guys, everything. And now we want to bring the actual art form for absolutely everybody to celebrate, no matter what your background is, whether you're of faith or no faith, black, white, everybody. So
For the last couple of years, outdoors, it was the biggest gospel music festival in Britain. It's going to go indoors next May. We might talk about that in a minute or two. But that whole enterprise, working on the gospel stuff, is what's brought you to plan this big Christmas extravaganza. I'm going to call it an extravaganza.
I love that, because it kind of is an extravaganza. You've got 5 choirs packed into an evening. It's brilliant, actually, with the kids at 6. But it is an extravaganza, and you're right. So we had to postpone the outdoors festival in September on the wake of the riots, because people were just telling us they didn't feel safe enough to attend. So obviously we had to be responsible in that regard. And so we immediately thought, well, let's have a Christmas event. St George's Hall were great about donating the hall for us to do that, so we can raise funds for the next one. And so we have this incredible extravaganza on the 19th of December. You've got choirs, 3 choirs from Liverpool, 4 choirs, in fact, including the youth choir, who were an excellent choir from Liverpool, and then from Manchester and Birmingham, coming together just to celebrate Christmas with a gospel sound in the hall, in the Great Hall, with the lights and everything. It's going to be excellent. The music's going to be fabulous.
It's good, but the look's going to be fabulous, and you've got it so close to Christmas.
That's right.
It's I think you are the start of Christmas.
Correct.
So it's the date is the
19th.
Thursday the 19th.
Thursday the 19th of December.
And it starts at 7 o'clock.
It starts at 7 o'clock. Doors open 6:15. So get in. It's going to be busy.
Yeah.
Thankfully, tickets have been selling well. So we've got a few left. We had to extend the allocation. So please get them very, very quickly.
Yeah.
But so doors open 6:15. It'll kick off at 7, and we'll just have a great time.
A great time, and then with an eye on hopefully festival next May as well, to bring that back as well.
Absolutely. We're working away, and we've got plans to have it back in May. Very firm plans. So all things being equal, we'll bring it back, and it'll be indoors so people can just feel safe and comfortable about what's happening next year. Beyond that, we can go outdoors again, but 2025 will be indoors.
Excellent. Are you going to come and talk to us about that?
Yes,
and
definitely.
should we come see you?
Yeah, either way.
I think
love to have you.
We'll come to you in the new year. We'll have a look at everything that's going on at the Lighthouse.
Brilliant.
You can find that out in the meantime, and all the obvious places that you get it, all the social media sites, the websites, and so on and so forth. Where do people get tickets though for the 19th? Where do people get tickets to kick off Christmas?
So go to Ticket Quarter, just Google A Gospel Christmas, St George's Hall. It will come up wherever you are, and you can buy tickets there. Go grab them quickly.
Grab them quickly before they go. It's Liverpool Lighthouse, all phenomenal work. The gospel thing will be the absolute business. It's the perfect way to start Christmas. I'll see you there.
Thanks a lot to Neil, and of course to Annie for coming in. It is always fantastic to see her. She's doing amazing work week in, week out in North Liverpool, and that Christmas gig sounds absolutely fantastic, and I'm pretty sure me and Neil are going to go, so really looking forward to that. Okay, we are on part 2. I am back in the studio with Scott, with Ian and Josh, and we are in association throughout the season on Midweek Extra with Green King Sport, so huge shout out for them for partnering us throughout the season. You can download the Green King Sport app, and it will tell you where your nearest sports pub is and all the fixtures that are going on across the weekend. And you can get, first of all, a free drink when you download that app, which is great, and also 10% off selected drinks when live sport is on the TV, which, to be honest, especially at this time of year, is pretty much all of the time. So whenever the sport on the TV at a Green King Sport pub, you get 10% off drinks with your app. Also, I would encourage everyone to download the Green King Sport Instagram page, follow the Green King Sport Instagram page. You're going to get a lot of me at the moment, so I'm going to be doing a derby preview, which I've not recorded yet, but it'll be confident, I'll be honest with you. No backward steps on that. I'll put a red top on today to do it and everything. So there's going to be me doing a little preview of the Everton game at the weekend, and also they've got a fantastic competition to win some amazing tickets for the Boxing Day game against Leicester City that I need to record as well. That's going to be on the Green King Sports app soon. You need to be following them to be in a chance for winning those. So yeah, download the Green King Sports app and follow them on the Instagram, and huge thanks to them to partner with us throughout the season. But it is a big game, Ian. It's the Ian Salmon derby. Your house is, I know, like a Royal Court play this weekend. Reds v Blues, all the hits. What's the mood in the camp?
As you know, we don't talk about it. we do not talk about it. Although we did, me and Jeanette did watch the match together last night, and she
Which
said
one?
Our game.
Right.
Our Matty was watching the Everton game on his phone, and I was getting constant updates on how well it was going.
All their goals.
And it was kind of like, I was looking at our WhatsApp group with the lads who go to the game, and it was kind of like, great. We're looking shaky, and they've just suddenly discovered how to score. Brilliant.
Well, the Wolves defender scored 2 of their goals, and he's probably not going to play.
And one of them was punching it into his own net. So yeah, it was quite a spectacular way to score their own goals. So we don't talk about the derby. We just avoid it. It's much better that way. But yeah, we watched the match, and Jeanette was like, "That was a really good game of football." I'm like, I have no idea whether our game of football was really good or not. But as a neutral, she enjoyed it.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah, so apparently it was great for the neutral, which is one of my least favourite phrases in the world.
Always, fuck the neutral.
Who gives a shit about the neutral?
Well, who is the neutral? Have a heavy winter.
There are no one.
Who is the neutral?
I'm sure Henry's got somebody he supports. It's always one of them, and I avoid having arguments with my son about football because that's a bad thing to do. Apparently, you're not allowed to argue with your own children,
especially this close to Christmas.
Yeah, it'd be wrong. I say children. He's 24, so I could have an argument with him. It's not like I was very, very confident. I've begun to get the shakes. I was very confident until last night, and now I'm kind of like shit. It's just typical. They're coming good at the moment when we need them to just be what they were 3 weeks ago. They haven't scored for 4 weeks, and then they score. And as you said, Craig Dawson scores 2 for them, but all of a sudden they actually played a bit of football and looked a bit more solid. So we avoid the conversation. Long answers for a short question.
No, it's fine. It's
see the way I avoided everything there.
No, you let us know you were starting to feel nervy, which is sort of how I've got, because Ian made a point before, Scott, about looking at this as a group of games, and I've been doing that. And I remember when we did the Overlap show, which is one of our audio shows for subscribers, for those who sort of don't know, and we talked about these games, and I said, 10 points would be great. And I think everyone in the room will be like, yeah, you completely deal on 10. If we win, that is sort of 10, but it does put a bit more pressure on that. There is the derby element, there is the fact that they're going in, with a win. Does that boost their sort of confidence a little bit, take a bit of pressure off them?
In the last Goodison derby ever.
Yeah. There's all this. I wanted more pressure on them. I feel like I don't want a slight sort of pressure off situation. How are you feeling going into it? And do you feel like the events of last night, in terms of in Newcastle and at Goodison, have any sort of reflection whatsoever? And how many Blues in your family?
Hardly any, to be honest. But I was more nervous going into the City game, to be honest. More apprehensive, more or less. But they needed that win last night. It was a massive game, that, because if Wolves would have won, Everton would have won into the bottom 3, and obviously going into the derby.
That pressure on you.
Yeah, but I'm confident. I think, as I said before, looking at the bigger picture, if you looked at these 5 games in 13 days, you'd back us to win. If it was 4 wins and 1 draw, you'd think one of the wins would be at Goodison. So I'll take it. I'll take that after the couple of weeks we've had. I do think he will make changes. I think the 3 lads who came on last night, Diaz, Trent and Szoboszlai, I think they'll all start.
Yeah.
So I think we will look a bit fresher. I know Gomez got a bang to the face. I don't know if that's why he came off last night, but I think he will start at centre-half. But I'm confident, yeah. I don't think the kick-off time helps anyone. I don't think that helps Everton with the atmosphere.
Doesn't help the neutral, I know that.
No matter who you play at that time, it's even at Anfield, if it was, against Man United, which it probably never has been, but the atmosphere won't be the best, I don't think. But that might help us out a little bit. But I'm expecting them to start fast like Newcastle did. So if we've learnt from last night's first half, we need to start just as fast as they do.
Yeah, it's hard to know what to expect too much in a way, Josh, from Everton, because the way they played last year was almost kind of like a standard Dyche performance, really, playing for sort of set pieces, but they did surprise me how much they sort of were up for it and brought it to Liverpool. Do you think they'll try and replicate that as much as possible, or are you expecting, a little bit more of a cagey affair?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I can't really see Dyche being as proactive as Eddie Howe was last night. I can't see them pressing us into the ground like that in an early kick-off when Liverpool will have Trent back in the back line, and I don't think Everton anywhere near as good at pressing as Newcastle United. So I think if they did that, I think Dyche will be aware that there's a chance we'll just get opened up and concede twice in the first 15 minutes. So I'm not quite sure how he'll address that or how he'll tackle it. The set pieces thing is something you'll obviously have to worry about. Like Everton win 4-0 last night. You know, everyone thinks they've turned the corner or whatever, but they scored 5 times from set pieces, mate. Like every goal was a set piece goal, including one that got ruled offside. It was the worst 4-0 win I've ever seen. So you've got to look after that, but in open play, I think you can take a fair few risks with Everton because they don't really pose you much of a threat. They struggle to score open play goals, so I think you can commit a few bodies forward and stuff like that, and know that you're not really going to get done going the opposite way. I think I'm a bit more concerned about the intangibles around the game as opposed to Liverpool against Everton as two teams. I think Liverpool should comfortably win it for me, but the fact it's an early kick-off, it's Goodison Park, and the last one at Goodison, things like that it's always quite a sticky game, I think. Early kick-offs at Goodison Park, so hopefully it's not, and hopefully when we bring in, you know, some of our regular starters like Diaz comes on and Trent comes back in the team and things, hopefully we'll look a bit more back to normal.
Yeah, that's the hope, isn't it, Ian? That the players who come back in make us look like a lot more like the Liverpool that we've seen. And Scott mentioned before, you'd expect all 3 of those who came off the bench last night to start. I think that's completely fair. I mean, Szoboszlai has to. McAllister's suspended, so you think, well, that's the obvious change.
That was annoying as well.
That was annoying, and it was the softest one off the yellows. Yeah. I felt as well. And listen, he might have booked him eventually because he seemed to.
He was totting up.
Yeah,
it was a bad refereeing performance, that mate.
Yeah, it was
for both sides, like somehow.
Yeah. Well, Joe Linton's apparently allowed to play a different sport to everyone else, and that's fine. But I would have been fuming if he'd have blown up with Liverpool going through like that. Oh, wow.
You've had a bad one though when both sets of supporters are coming away going, referee was fucking shite.
But anyway, so McAllister is suspended, so Szoboszlai will play because he's picked 4th and 3, and so he'll go for sort of them 3. Diaz will play. Who he comes in for, we'll have to wait and see. I think we're expecting Nunez and then Diaz to go up front, but he might surprise us. But I think we'd be shocked if he goes the same sort of 3 again. So Diaz, and then Trent presumably was left out of Newcastle with half an eye on Everton. So
because he couldn't do the minutes yet. He'd already said he couldn't do the minutes.
And so you feel like all 3 of them will add something, to this game. Yeah,
it's I know. I mean, a lot changed in 5 days. At the beginning of the week, I was sitting there going, I can't wait to see Nunez against Everton. I think he's perfect for the chaos of the derby. I don't want him anywhere near the chaos of the derby.
Oh, you'd quite like him off the bench?
Off the bench, yeah. But I don't want to see him start and create the chaos of the derby. I'd like us to be in a good position before we bring him on to actually do something in the last 15 minutes. If we start like we started against City, that'd be the ideal. Because we came out against City and we confused them. They had no idea what they were doing. We did what we did to them in the semi-final of the FA Cup, where they just spent 45 minutes walking around the pitch trying to figure out what the hell was going on. So if we can start like we started there, that'd be the ideal. And I think this is possibly why we were started within ourselves last night, and obviously it went against us somewhat. But if we can start again like the City game, I think that's the key to it. I think Trent's got to be there. Hopefully he's fit enough to play the 90. I'm fine with either Gomez or Quansah playing. The left side picks itself. The midfield obviously picks itself unless he sees some kind of mad endo shout that he wants to go in with after basically using for half an hour all season. I think the front 3 has to be Gakpo, Diaz, Salah. It's easy to choose teams now because we're running those people.
Well, and he only wants to pick from a certain number. Does that just feel the team? I mean, it sort of does, doesn't it? Not to give too much away, unless someone's suddenly back. Do you know what I mean? We do this before the press conference, but you might say that Alice is ready to go, or I don't know where fucking Jota is, to be honest with you. Chiesa plays the under 21s. I mean, he'd be a bold one, but he might be on the bench. But is it just sort of that team?
I'd agree with that. Yeah, I'd go with Szoboszlai. Seems, he's had a rest yesterday. He came on, done really well, but I think he'll be raring to go. Obviously, we will be without McAllister, which, he's perfect at taking control of the game, whether we need him to or not. But I think obviously Trent will go straight back in. But I would agree, yeah. I'd put Diaz up front, centre forwards, but even when he does that, he doesn't seem to change with Gakpo. They don't seem to, if it's not working, they don't seem to swap. So, but it'd be interesting. I'm not sure if Alisson might just go straight back in, even if he's 90% fit, which would be a bit harsh, but obviously he said as soon as he's back ready, he's going straight back in. So, and in terms of Everton, are they going to play Beto or Calvert-Lewin up front? Because I think that might decide whether we play Gomez or Kwanzaa. I mean, Kwanzaa's better in the air, he's a bit bigger, so that probably suit Beto, but whoever plays is going to play on either Gomez or Kwanzaa. They're not going to go near Van Dijk, I don't think. So, but we need to start well. We don't need to start like we did last night. And just quieten the crowd if you can with an early goal, and then just settle down, settle into the game.
The crowd needs to remember the 8 Everton more than the 8 us. Just trying to get that across subtly. I might take a banner. Remember what they've done to use. Remember how much you hate them. See if that sort of helps. The centre half one's interesting because Scott mentioned there trying to look at the threats. You've got to remember Konate really struggled there last year, and so he's obviously in better form now. But I thought he really found it tough against Calvert-Lewin. I was in the ground. I'd never seen someone jump as high as what he was sort of jumping in that game. It was unbelievable. But we conceded silly free kicks and stuff like that. And whoever plays next to Virgil needs to have a big game. Now, I'd be tempted to go for Gomez because we needed a big game from him against Man City, and we got one, and that was the most recent big game we've got from either of them. But he doesn't play well at the weekend. I don't know how much that ball to the face sort of affected them. You wouldn't have thought it. He was struggling sort of before that, so I don't think you can put that too much sort of down to that. Anyway, I'd probably be going for the experience alongside him and backing on a back four of Robbo, Verge, Gomez, Trent, with all their experience, with all they've won to sort of get you through this game, even if they haven't necessarily, got the extra protection of someone like a McAllister in front.
Yeah, I agree. I would go with that as well. Like Kwanzaa's got the physical edge maybe on Gomez size wise, but you didn't really see that play out against someone like Liam Delap, for example, on the first game of the season, and Calvert-Lewin, I suppose, and Beto as well. They're not that different in terms of the makeup of them. So the ball's going to spend a fair bit of time in the air with Everton. We know that they're going to test us aerially. They're going to test us from set pieces. I think if you deal with that, though, if you're comfortable enough with that, you should win the game, because that's how they ruffle your feathers a little bit, but that also plays into why it might be difficult to start like we started against City, because I think we started so well against City because they let us. They started building from the back at Anfield when they had no confidence at all.
We kept doing it.
Yeah, we just pressed them into the ground. The crowd got up. Everton won't do that. Newcastle didn't really do it.
Apparently Everton backs a long ball. Yeah,
Pickford will just be hitting balls to Calvert-Lewin, who will be sitting on Joe Gomez. That's what will be happening. So getting those little freebies high up the pitch might not happen. But I think if we can build the game and we can deal with their aerial stuff, I think we'll be fine. But it'd be nice to have Konate to deal with that, because Konate's been brilliant. It's not a great week to lose him, really, is it?
No, well, it never sort of feels like that, but this is the situation we're in. But I'll always just think here, you could tie yourself in knots, but the 11 who we put out is going to be better than theirs. And that's the reality of the situation. That's where we are in the league table, still 7 points clear, and that's why they're sort of struggling. At the bottom is that, listen, they've got some decent players, and they can come together in a way that can hurt a team, but at the same time, there's not any really you take to start for us, and not even that many sort of you'd have on the bench, and so we need to find a way. When Liverpool have been at the best at Goodison, they found a way to show the golfing class. I'm thinking the one that Klopp won there 4-1. I'm thinking about a few, before that, under different managers. It's when they found a way to sort of demonstrate that they have got the better footballers and took it away from them, and that's what I'm hoping to see on Saturday.
I think one of the biggest things is we've got very good lads on the wings, and they've got very poor full-backs, so that we should be threatening them. And their centre-backs, Tarkowski had a good season last season, but by all accounts he's having a very bad season this season. And we should be able to threaten them all along their back line because they've got very, very little there. And going forward, I'm fighting against using the phrase they haven't got anybody who scores goals, because as soon as you use that kind of phrase, it's like middle of last night I was talking about Jeremy Doku and saying he's got no end product, and within 30 seconds he'd scored, and which is why I didn't say it while he was playing against us at Anfield. Their threat is, as you just said, it's aerial, isn't it? That's what they've got, and as long as we can deal with that, we've got more creativity all along the pitch. Even without McAllister, we've got more creativity in midfield than they've got. They're not an inventive team. They're a very, very limited team in terms of what they can do going forward and in terms of how they defend at the moment. That, last night hopefully for my family, it's a trend going forward from the middle of next week. But for Saturday lunchtime, hopefully that was an aberration and they'll revert to mean where they've been for the last 6 weeks.
We're going to win, Scott?
Yeah, I think we'll win. Hopefully it's comfortable. We don't have to. Hopefully Pickford doesn't have the game of his life, which he seems to do against us sometimes. But yeah, I think we'll have too much for them.
Confident, Josh?
Yeah, I think it'll be okay. I think hopefully we'll keep a clean sheet. But I think
it's a few shipped on the road now, isn't it? In a row.
Yeah, well, I seen Mo tweet today that we've conceded 2 goals now in something like our last 4 away games in a row, or something, which is interesting. If you're giving away 2 against Everton, something's going wrong because they can't score. But it's interesting as well that this is Slot's first derby at Goodison, and I think his game should be more beneficial to Liverpool and Klopp's in this kind of game, I think, because Klopp played into the chaos, didn't he? Played into the end-to-end stuff. I think sometimes in a derby, away from home, when the crowd are up and all that, I think that can sting it a little bit. So if Liverpool can just really kill it and make it a bad one for the neutral, then
I want the most boring game you've ever seen in your life.
Just a really boring Man City game. You know what I mean? I'd take one of them now, like.
Let's all hope for a very bad game for the neutral on Saturday. Listen, we'll leave it there. Huge thanks to Scott, to Ian and to Josh for coming in to chat to us this morning. For Andy Heaton for producing the audio, Sam Walker over there on video, and of course Green King Sports for partnering with us. That has been Midweek Extra. Whatever you're watching this weekend, hope you enjoy it. Hope it's terrible for the neutral and great for the Reds.